Welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We got Pearson in the real part of Texas again. He just making this. You just might as well just come on and move on to Houston.
I know a lot more people in this town than I should.
Yeah. Just move to Houston. We got I was about to say anchovies, but that's not what we have. We have what's the
there's a lot
the
to know.
eggs,
The deviled eggs.
No,
Caviar?
caviar.
Oh, the caviar and the champagne
Yeah,
here.
caviar and champagne.
I was going to say Houston's known by a lot of things. I've never heard someone go, if you want good anchovies, you got to go to Houston. I've never heard that.
I got all mixed up. But this is the Rig on Wheels show featuring MVT. Of course, I am your host, Camille E. Gaines, and we have the super funny Robert Pearson, the VP over there at the recruitment. That's like the only department, right?
Yes.
Sales.
Yeah.
I mean, we just love recruitment, right? So the VP of recruitment over there at MVT, Mr. LaValle, transportation. We are still the one and only truck driver recruitment podcast show extravaganza, right?
Yep.
And we are here to give you your trucking insight, your news, your tips for your truck drivers, your recruitment tips. So we're gonna make history together, and we got a lot of hot things for you. But I think we're gonna just jump off into these this news. I mean,
yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah,
a lot going on.
We got some diesel that's dropping, which sounds good, but it's starting to get scary now.
Yeah, and we talked about it the last 3 to 4 weeks on the show here, is that we do want it to go down. Down is a good thing, but it's also an indication. Look, when you go back over history and you see in the last 10 years when fuel has been $1.80, it's because there's economic turmoil. At the end of COVID, it was $1.80. In 2008, it's during a huge financial crisis that it got down to $1.80. We're not to that point yet, but we've seen consistent drops. The national average this week dropped 5.1 cents to 3.70, according to the EIA that released that August 12th. This continues a 5-week stretch of declines during which the average diesel price has fallen 16 cents in the past 5 weeks. Yeah. 67 cents cheaper than it was this time in 2023. Diesel dropped in all 10 regions of the weekly survey, the biggest one being in the Gulf Coast, experiencing the largest decrease at 6.5 cents, while the Rocky Mountain region saw the lowest at just half a penny. That continues to go down. I would not freak out until we start seeing 20, 30 cent drops at a time. But I do think it's an indication, if I had to guess, that no one really knows who's going to win the election right now.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people, both consumers as well as businesses, that are in a state of purgatory at this moment. They don't know what the playbook's going to be. And one of the things I always track is what Vegas thinks. And I can tell you, if you look at the Bellagio or MGM Grand right now betting on the election, right now Trump and Kamala are literally at 50-cent bets, which is that break-even spot on there that you basically don't know who's going to win. So there's a lot of uncertainty around that, and that gives people some pause. It's impacting the spot market. The spot market literally went up 2.5 cents after 2.5% after dropping 6.4 the week before, somewhat holding steady. We saw dry van went up a penny and a half, flatbed was down 2.5, reefer was up 4 cents. We're still sitting at that 4-to-1 ratio on dry van, which is a little concerning. We don't see a whole lot of movement there at this end. We just kind of seem to be floating around. And so that's a little bit concerning as we go into the election cycle. Down the home stretch of the election, hopefully if we get to November, and we should see December pick up dramatically. But I know it's one of the things, Home Depot recently released their financial outlook. They talked that the second quarter was good for them, but it was artificially good just because of some recent acquisitions. and they're noticing, consumers continue to rein in their spending, which concerns Home Depot. We saw Class 8 trucks continue the downward trend for the 11 consecutive months in terms of volume that they were selling. Um, a lot of this information just has stuff that it's kind of waiting to do something, and right now it's not doing it.
And then just to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying about the last 2 to 3 things, literally, is I pulled up an article on Transport Topics that was talking about OPEC. So the potential shift with the oil deficit and the surplus due to the increased OPEC production could lead to lower oil prices. Okay, so we know that. But the surplus can also talk about the slowdown in the global demand. And I think it goes back to the election as
Yep.
well, because our election just runs everything.
Oh, it does, even globally.
Yeah. So markets like China, which could also lead to the reduction in
Yep.
freight demand. So here we go again. And that's part of the reason why our dollar stores are, I want to say, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but in ruin.
Well, one of the things that Dollar General found when they released their last financials, and this is kind of concerning for U.S. spending, the
Mm-hmm.
average consumer, the average shopper right now at Dollar General is making over $100,000 a year. That is not good because that is not their target demographic. They are
No.
not targeting six-figure incomes.
No.
Generally, that is a sign that people making less than 50,000 are essentially just scraping by. And when you got $100,000 plus wage earners going into a place like Dollar General to shop, that is a sign that they are also being very conscientious about what they're purchasing, how much they're purchasing. So it's one of the things that on face value, when you say, hey, your business has a lot of six-figure customers, that is not always good if that's not the target demographic you're
Right.
going after. McDonald's, Walmart, Dollar General generally want to see somebody in that 40 to $60,000 range as a
Yeah.
household income. And what it really points to is people do have the ability to spend. They're choosing not to at this moment.
And so that's good and it's bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
good
it
and
feels
bad.
like we're in a country that's in hold or purgatory, as I call it. Hopefully, it can break loose. I'm optimistic still about the second half of the year compared to the first part of the
Oh,
year.
yeah, absolutely.
But with that said, we've come out of that valley. It just doesn't feel like we're going up the hill quick enough as an industry.
Yeah, we're definitely ready for the last quarter of the year. So third quarter to be over, and I guess we were ready for third quarter. I was ready for third quarter to begin. Now I'm ready for it to be over. But I'm also ready for the election, or I'm ready for Vegas to tell us who is going to um, win.
Yeah, I honestly, gun to my head, couldn't tell you. I'd tell you to tell my wife and kids I love them.
Yeah, I just it's getting on my nerves at this point.
One of the things I will share too, Texas opens the I-10 rest areas with parking for 116 additional trucks. That impacts us out in the El Paso region. Van Horn is about 100
Mm-hmm.
miles east of El Paso. One of the key things there is we talk a lot about parking, and in particular in the East Coast where there's higher concentration of interstates, we see that. But some of these long stretches along I-10, I-20, I-40, tend to get into some remote areas where you don't make it to El Paso or you don't
Mm-hmm.
make it to San Antonio going back the other way. So one of the things we look at is the truck stops that are adding that, but truck stops also are not always your friend as a driver. Being able
Right.
to park and not at a truck stop can save you significant money at times. And so I-10, the two rest areas outside of Van Horn, both east and west, should add about 116 trucks. And I think the state of Texas is in line over the next 12 months to open up approximately another 600 parking spaces that are in
Mm.
some of these rest areas that are not attached to a truck stop, giving a little more versatility in the state of Texas in terms of where you park your rig.
Well, that takes us to the end of our news segment here. So, what I want to do is head on to a commercial. I was going to put our expert on the spot, which we still are. He doesn't know this part because I do want to put him on the spot. I want to talk about some things about MVT, but I also want him to give us some thoughts on the industry when it comes to retention and just overall what all logistic and trucking companies can do, or at least trucking companies can do But before we do that, because I think I'm just so excited, I want to talk about jobs. I want to talk about hot jobs first. So if Kayla, aka Vanna White, can go ahead and take us to commercial, we come back and I want to talk about the hot jobs.
My name is Stacy Morton, and my position is OTR driver. And I've been with the company for 8 months. I enjoy being with part of the family because good miles, uh, nice people. Uh, they listen to the drivers. The pay is excellent here at MVT. The home time is very good. You get to go home anytime you want. The dispatchers are really nice. They listen to the drivers, whatever you want. They will do their best to give you what you need. And the equipment is good, and safety is excellent. Yeah, they're fast, and the roadside is good. They listen to you, and they get the job fixed in a timely manner. Yeah, I would recommend other drivers to come to MVT because this is a good place to work, and you get excellent home time and everything that you need here.
All right, everybody. So, welcome back. We are super excited, or at least I'm excited. So, let's start. If we can start bringing up these maps, the 110, if we can start there, that'll be great.
Awesome. We're looking for teams, and so we do have solo opportunities, which we'll cover a little bit here. But if you're a team living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, El Paso, the DFW Metroplex, Nashville, or Memphis, we have a wonderful team opportunity, primarily going east to west, occasionally up to the northwest about 10% of the time. Average team makes between $3,600 to $4,000 a week on this run here with weekly home time. A lot of good running area, a lot of solid length of haul, a lot of drop and hook in those areas that you deliver. Again, if you live out of Albuquerque, El Paso, the DFW Metroplex, Nashville, or Memphis, very attractive running lane, good pay, great equipment, and a routine customer base. Most of the customers that are on this particular division with us have been with us 20 plus years, so they know our equipment, they know our drivers, and most importantly, your dispatcher is going to be somebody with years of experience. We tend to have most of our veteran dispatchers on this particular division. So the other thing that is kind of attractive about this, it's a collaborative work environment, and you're going to be dealing with dispatchers that in a couple of cases have been drivers themselves with us on this account. So it's kind of a unique environment, really exciting opportunities there. We could use anywhere between 5 to 10 teams on this in the immediate next couple of weeks. Again, that's Albuquerque, El Paso, DFW, Nashville, and Memphis. Can we go to the next one, Kayla? Our Southwest Regional Division. This is where we run a lot of TJ Maxx, Tesla, and a number of other accounts that are, again, direct customers, rely very rarely on actual broker loads. Division 210 averages about $1,200 to $1,400 a week for solo drivers. We have current openings out of the Phoenix or the Valley of the Sun, Albuquerque, San Antonio, and Laredo. Phoenix and Albuquerque would do orientation out of El Paso. San Antonio and Laredo would do orientation out of Laredo specifically. Attractive running lane, clear running lane, detailed customers that understand what we need to be successful on, very specific engineered lanes that allow you to be very consistent in your miles every week. Again, weekly home time, good equipment, good dispatchers, and nice facilities. The nice thing too with this is you're going to go through El Paso and Laredo often, so you'll be able to use our biodiesel, have access to showers, be comfortable, instead of relying heavily on the truck stops, which does make part of this division very attractive. And let's go one more, and then we'll talk about another exciting opportunity that we have. Division 410. So we're mainly running the southern Great Lakes states as well as the southeastern U.S., have current openings in Nashville, Lexington, Kentucky, as well as Louisville, Kentucky. You're going to get weekly home time averaging about $1,650 a week. That comes out to approximately $85,000 a year. We also have productivity bonuses that when you call in, we can give you a little more details on how those productivity bonuses work. a lot of drop and hook. This tends to be about 80% drop and hook. Good, deep customer base here. We rely on about 20 different customers that make this up. Nice dispatch based out of Nashville, and the orientation for this would be out of our Nashville terminal. So this is a nice area where you don't have to go far from home to get into your orientation location. Our orientation on any of our divisions either takes place out of El Paso, Laredo, or Nashville. It lasts approximately 2.5 days. We make sure to compensate you at approximately $500, so you're not feeling like you're not running freight. I know there's a lot of places where you do orientation that will give you a tip of like $50 a day. It's not the same thing you'd be making if you were running freight on the road, or at least I hope not. So we make sure to compensate you for your time, take care of your transportation and your accommodations, and get you out on the road. Once you leave orientation, you're out on a load and you're working. Generally, we're trying to get you in the direction of where you live, depending on the division, so that you can load up the truck. But this division, 210 and Division 110 are definitely ones that we have in need right now. Can you share with them how they can apply through Rig on Wheels for those divisions?
Absolutely. So give us a call at 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100, or go directly to our website at rigonwheels.com and click on the link that says driver application. Complete the autofill app, complete it completely, or fill it out completely. That's probably a better way to say it. And then we'll definitely get back to you within 24 hours or less.
Now, MVT has a lot of openings in other locations. So if you didn't see the city listed there that you currently reside in, MVT has other openings, as well as about 40 other clients that work directly with Rig on Wheels. So really, Rig on Wheels is going to focus on placing you in the right job that fits for you. I would like that to be Mesilla Valley Transportation, but it may not be, depending on where you live, your skill set, what you want to do ultimately with your career. So the nice thing when you call that number or apply on the website is you're going to be able to really have somebody work as your free agent. Imagine yourself as that star football player. You've got multiple teams vouching for you. They all want you. But at the end of the day, do you really want to have 40 separate phone calls? When you can have one, Nimmer and Raven and the team can talk to you and really find out what it is that you're looking for. And you can take a week-long process and really turn it into a quick 15-minute phone call as they place you in the job that's going to be right for you. Speaking of, we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks on the show. Starting September 14th, we have a dedicated opportunity that's coming in Columbus, Ohio. So if you live in Columbus, Ohio, we will have home daily opportunities ranging from $1,200 to $1,700 a week. That depends really on if you're working a day shift or a night shift, but it's home daily. It's all no touch. Literally, you'll be running places like Columbus. Occasionally, we might go up to Romulus in Michigan or Louisville and coming right back to Columbus. It's going to be very consistent pay. It's dedicated shifts, so you will have an assigned shift. You will know when your home time is. It will be daily, but you will know what days you're off. We are going to do orientation the week before the 14th. So if you call this number now, though, we're going to do a waiting list. So you're going to want to reach out. We'll get more details on the job as we approach that date sooner, but this is the time to act on it. If you or you know somebody else that lives in the Columbus metropolitan area, preferably within about 50 miles of Groveport, Ohio, call today, get your application in, get pre-qualified for the position, and you will be the first person that get calls from us going, hey, the positions are open. Let's go. Let's move forward. Again, you got to be available to start on 9/14, September 14th. So you'll start your orientation either on the 9th or the 11th.
Yeah.
And you will be up and running starting on the 14th. We have approximately 40 openings on this role, but don't wait on it. They will go quick. We have had some early response on that end, and it is dedicated. It's home daily. It's all no touch, no endorsements required, all late model equipment, and a really good team. This account that we picked up, we've been able to keep the management team that was previously there. So they know the customer, they know how it works, as well as a number of drivers that are actively on the account that will come over to us. So there's people there that have already been on this account that can help with that training in the early stages.
Yeah, so the good pieces to this account is dedicated, no touch, and home daily.
Yep.
And you don't need any endorsements. So it's really 4 things. So it's dedicated, no touch, home daily, and no endorsements.
Yep.
So that's really good.
It is.
Because a lot of things in the Columbus area, if it's home daily, you do need endorsement.
Yep.
So
Within the week, next time if you tune in, we'll give more details on the actual job down to the letter. But with that said, you're going to want to get your application in now. Apply in advance on that end because you will be who we call first.
Yeah. So definitely give us a call at 281-968-3100 or you can text at 281-968-3100. Let us know that you want to be on the waiting list, or you can go directly to the application as well. It's the same thing. You will be able to be on the waiting list because just like Pearson said, the orientation will be either September 9th or September the 11th. And how long would the orientation be?
For that particular account, 1 day.
Okay, so it's a 1-day orientation. So I'm writing down everything because this is a specialized job.
Yep.
It's a lot different than some of the other jobs that we recruit for MVT, and it's only 40 spots available. So it's not for a driver that needs to start at the end of September or anything like that. It's literally for September 14th.
Yep. And I will say this too. So let's say that you know 2 other people that you want to have drive with you and join the team out there. We'll also do referral bonuses. So if you call the number on the screen right there and you go, hey, I'm interested, and I also have a couple of my friends that would like to go ahead and have applied to this job, we will do that $1,000 referral bonus. So keep that in mind. A nice way to kind of pocket your line your pockets just a little bit as you start that account. But we'll be up and running soon on that.
That's awesome. That's a good way to start quarter 4 for them.
Yes, it is.
That's a great way to start it off. And having kids going back to school and all of that, so you'll be able to reimburse yourself for all of kids' clothes and all of that. So that's what I'm thinking. All the kids' clothes and all of that.
Yep.
Or kids that you have that you just just went to college.
I don't know the 2,000 will cover that part.
You
The college part?
1,000.
Yeah, but if you refer 2 of your friends,
Oh
you
yeah,
get $2,000.
but it'll help.
It will help. It will help.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like if you had to get a U-Haul and all of that type of thing, or airfare to get them to wherever they need to go, those are the things that I'm talking about. Because Michael James is going away to school, so I'm literally knowing exactly what that $1,000 for me would go.
A lot of bills coming in your way.
Yeah. So I specifically know. So if, like we said, if you're definitely interested in being on that waiting list, give us a call or text or go directly to the website. So the number again, if you could put it back up there, Kayla, 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100, or go to the website at rigonwheels.com and click on driver application and complete the app. That'll be great.
Yep. Let's become coworkers sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome account. And remember, it's only 40 positions that will start September 14th, and your orientation will be either the 9th or the 11th, right before the start date. Okay, for a 1-day order. So let's go ahead. Did you have something else you wanted to say about that?
No, we're good to go.
That's pretty fantastic about that home daily position. And remember, the pay is between $1,200 and $1,700 a week, depending on what shift.
Really, we have what we'd call stores and XTD.
Okay.
So the stores are your day shifts. They're going to be anywhere between $1,200 to $1,400. You're delivering to stores primarily Monday through Friday. The $1,500 to $1,700 range is what we call, it's similar to just-in-time freight. You have set runs at night, and it really becomes important that you're on time because you got to be there at specific times. It requires you to work night, but that's why it's $1,500 to $1,700. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat.
Oh boy.
Frog? No, I stick to frog.
Oh, you just kiss.
A lot of frog kissing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got to kiss a few frogs to get to a prince or
princess, whichever way you go. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah. Okay. Prince for me. King. All right. So on that uncomfortable note, we're going to go ahead and go to commercial, come back, and then I'm going to be putting Pearson on the spot. He is having to speak for the entire MVT and the entire trucking community at large.
I wear glasses so I look smart as I do it.
Awesome. See you in 2 and 2. Okay, Pearson. Now, I didn't give you any heads up on this conversation, right?
Let's go.
No, because you was too busy drinking your 90 proof smart water.
Yeah, these answers are brought to you by Smart Water. So we'll see how these go.
Okay. So now we like to talk about a lot of retention strategies and things like that. So I know you partner with Hello Retention, but beyond that, um, let's talk about a few retention strategies.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I have down is regular check-ins, feedback loops, career development, which you talk about all the time, building supportive culture, personalized engagement. When I say these things, tell me the thing that pops up first when I say regular check-in, almost like a game.
Yeah, I'm going to say being able to physically talk to somebody.
Okay.
When I think of that regular check-in, and we rely as an industry so heavily on our in-cab communications, and it's a valuable tool, it's an important tool. There's a lot of value to being able to talk to somebody and just physically have a conversation, and not everything can be done in a text format. It's why night and weekend coverage on phones is so important. It's
Okay.
why during the day having a dispatcher that understands and has a conversation with you is so important. Again, I think technology is a great thing, and we have to utilize the in-cab communication. But I think as an industry, we fail to build that relationship because we don't talk to people. We simply want to send a quick message, a quick dispatch, a quick navigation. It reminds me of the importance of that physical, being able, when something goes wrong, to talk to somebody. I'm fortunate. If I'm in my office, I can go 10 feet and go talk to somebody to relieve myself
Right.
of an issue. For a driver that's on the road that may be 1,800 miles away from the terminal, something has gone wrong, and it starts as a small problem, but as time goes on with no answer, it becomes a bigger problem. Normally that moment of crisis, and as a recruiter, I rely on that moment of crisis. You're a driver calling me because it's gotten so bad you can't take it anymore. That's where my next hire comes from. So I'm thankful for it, but if you want to hold on to that driver, you can't let them reach that moment of crisis. They have to have that outlet of, look, can I just talk to somebody and have this solved for me? And I think as an industry, as we continue to become more technology heavy, we lose that. And so that's what it reminds me of, that just having a conversation.
Okay, so when you said this, it definitely fell under the two bullet points that I have here. Addressing issues early,
Yeah.
because that's what you just said. You hit it, you literally just said that, and then building a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the hard part for us is, as an industry, we will start to think of the driver the same way we do a truck or a trailer. That driver for a dispatcher becomes a resource. And that's a horrible thing because it's a human being that's in that truck. If we remember that it's a human being, we put ourselves and we show empathy of, hey, that person's just like me if they were out on the road, and avoid that idea of what's your driver number with every conversation.
Right, yeah.
I get why we do it. We got to look them up. I understand.
Right.
But at the end of the day, as a dispatcher in particular, I get somebody in finance or IT going, I need to see your driver number. But if you're a dispatcher, you should know everybody on your board by name.
Right.
You shouldn't have to go, what's your driver code? And so it's that relationship becomes pivotal here, especially if you're going to have uncomfortable conversations, which in trucking, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. I don't want to start an uncomfortable conversation off with, what's your driver number? That's a horrible way to start an uncomfortable conversation.
Absolutely. So going to the second one, the first one or two things that come to your mind when I say feedback loops.
Addressing the problems.
Okay.
So it's one thing that you've now had the conversation, you've identified the problem, actually addressing it matters, or at least having a game plan in place. It's one thing when the driver says, I don't like this, but then 30 days later, if there's been no traction on it whatsoever, all the other stuff is pointless. And so you actually have to change something. So it may be a driver saying, your trailers are in horrible condition, and 6 months later, they see the trailer pool's gotten worse, but not better. For that driver, that's a deal breaker.
Absolutely.
It may be that the driver says, look, every time I go to this customer, I wait 5 to 6 hours, and what I'm getting paid attention doesn't make up for the lost miles, but nothing ever changes. At a certain point, that driver again reaches that moment of crisis when they go, nothing's ever going to change. I can complain and you're listening, but nothing ever changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have down under there is a two-way communication, which is basically implementing the feedback that you got. That's what you just said.
Yep.
And then continuous improvement. So continuously getting the feedback and improving on it.
Yep.
Because retention isn't just a one-time fix. You have to continuously improve on it.
Yeah, and you see it on your end. You have drivers that apply to you that have been at their same employer 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not as many of them, but you'll have a 10-year person call you up looking for a job. And they'll rely heavily on you in particular because they've not been in the open job market in a long time. So things have changed a lot in 10 years. Those drivers, just because you've held on to them for 90 days or 6 months or whatever your initial stage is, you can't forget about them. They still are, if anything, they're more important now because you've invested into them.
Yeah.
And so being able to go, hey, we identified, and you and I talked about this, we've made these changes, and acknowledging that if you notice these changes, that driver noticing the changes becomes important, and getting that feedback matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you don't want to have to continuously train somebody, but not just that. Those particular drivers, knowing that you did that, it's a lot of buy-in, and then they'll be able to tell a new driver that.
Yep.
That's what that is. Okay, so the first one or two things that come to you: career development opportunity.
Yeah, it's thinking beyond the first 90 days. We're so focused on getting a driver into a truck at this moment as an industry that we don't really think beyond the first 90 days. And you'll have a driver that's 2 years into the job is literally going, I'm making what I made then. Nothing's changed. And I'm just kind of spinning my wheels here, figuratively and literally. So the key thing here is, what do you want a driver to look forward to 5 years from now? With us, as an example, they will start out doing no-touch flat dry van, but they may get a passport. Now we can utilize them for some business that's coming our way going up to Canada. It could be a driver that, if you look at our orientation and our road testers, they came from drivers on the road and they transitioned into those other occupations. We have our trainers. We have owner-operators that start as a company driver and then eventually get their own truck. It is having a career path beyond just the first 90 days. And we don't do a good job as an industry. We're so focused, so heavily focused on today, that if we don't think about a driver's career path 6 months, 2 years, 5 years from now, you will always be feeding the beast. You're literally bringing them in the front door and watching them go out the back door because you're not working towards anything. You're literally just trying to get through today.
And that is a serious burnout.
It is.
That is a serious burnout. So you did talk about the pathway to growth, but it's one thing that you didn't talk about, and you guys at MVT do this very well, and it's a part that everyone else does it in September only, but you all do it every quarter. So talk about that.
Yeah, we do driver appreciation once quarterly, and part of that is, it's so easy to give people negative feedback. It's important to give positive feedback. And I don't care if you're a driver, if you work in the guard shack, if you're a corporate attorney, everybody needs a little hug once in a while. I don't care how much you want to man up and go, I'm good.
Right.
We all like a little bit of a pat in the back and, hey, you're doing a good job.
Absolutely.
It allows us that face-to-face interaction that a lot of carriers might not get. We take pride in the fact that we physically get to see our drivers more often. And when you do driver appreciation once a year, statistically speaking, you're not going to get to see a lot of your drivers. We want to see you. We want to talk to you. Our ownership team, our executive leaders want to meet with you. So that becomes really important. And the other part of it, though, MPG bonuses and the car giveaway and promotions of drivers and transitioning drivers into other roles. We want the drivers to know it's one thing to say you're doing a bad job. It's another thing to go, you do know you're doing a good job. Like, we're really impressed with you. Too often, and I go back to this, and it might be over dramatic, how many marriages end because the spouse doesn't know what the other thinks of them? Literally, that communication breaks down. They don't know. And what starts out as a good marriage ends badly, and it's purely because they stop talking to each other. The same thing in the work environment. Your coworkers, be it your peers, your superiors, people under you, they should know, am I doing a good job? Do you like working with me? If they don't know that, that marriage or that employment situation is going to come to an end, unfortunately.
You're kind of going into my next one, but you did get to the point where I was saying the first one was pathways to growth. It's part of the career development opportunities in recognition and rewards.
Yep.
Okay. So the things that come to you when it comes to building a supportive culture.
Yeah. I think designing jobs that drivers want is step one. So it gets not just into pay, pay's the easy part, but it gets into set
Yeah.
schedules. It gets into running lanes. Understanding, is my job attractive? To what drivers is it attractive to? There's a very honest discussion that needs to take place. And so, there's carriers out there that may have their drivers out for weeks at a time. It's not the end of the world. There are drivers that want
Yeah,
that job, but you have to be
absolutely.
realistic about who you're targeting at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
it's creating a job that does that. It's creating an environment of respect and collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Your dispatcher should value the driver. The driver should have reason to value the dispatchers. That collaborative environment makes a big difference. Lastly, and most importantly, there's that saying, it takes a village. It really does. Between support system, it's not just a dispatcher, it's a load planner that works with the customer to line
Mm.
everything up. It is the sales team picking up the freight that's ultimately going to let a driver be successful, not just the company. It's the
Yeah.
executive leadership team taking a look and, hey, if we change this, what does it do to our driver base? And having a very long and detailed discussion about that. It's one thing as a company, we have to look at the bottom line. The profit margin of the trucking company can be very narrow. But beyond just the bottom line, you need to have that conversation. What does this do to our driver base? Is this a positive, a negative? Will drivers understand it? If not, do we understand it?
Mm.
Having those discussions becomes really imperative.
And okay, so that you did do both of them. You basically explained what the bullet points were. So community and inclusion, basically fostering a sense of community with the drivers, making sure their lanes make sense for them because each driver needs something different.
Yes.
Okay. That's what it is. You need to make sure that it works for the driver and know what type of driver you're targeting and what type of culture you want at your company.
Yep.
Because MVT wants a different culture than ABC.
Yep.
Okay. That's the reason why majority of MVT jobs are not out 3 and 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the mental health support, basically making sure that the drivers are able to cope with the challenges and the changes
Yep.
of the job, for the retention and all of that. So
Absolutely.
basically, that's what you said. Okay, so now when I say personalized engagement, what does that mean to you?
That gets into the very first topic we talked about,
Yeah.
having a conversation. There are no two drivers that are alike. Every
Mhm.
driver is uniquely different. And as much as we try to design things for the masses, and you do need to design things for the masses, this is a one-on-one relationship.
Right.
And if you don't treat it as a one-on-one relationship, again, you go back to where you're starting conversations with, what's your driver number?
Mhm.
You should have a unique one-on-one relationship. So let's say I'm a dispatcher, and Camille, you're one of my drivers, and I have 50 other drivers. I should know what your career goals are, what you like, what you don't like to like, where don't like, what concerns you have about your job, what you want to do a year from now, what your passions are outside of the truck. Hey, why is home time important to you? Maybe there's stuff that maybe you're starting a side business.
Right.
Maybe it's that you have a sick relative, and it's really important that you get home. Me understanding you as a person definitely makes that relationship one that's going to be much longer lasting. You're probably willing to tolerate when things don't go wrong because we have an emotional bond at that point. I'm
Mhm.
sticking with you on that, and I know a little bit about you. The second piece of that equation is you have confidence that I legitimately care what happens to you. You don't want to get a call from me as a dispatcher going, hey, you made me bonus last month. That's cool, but that doesn't do me any good. Okay.
Yeah.
On the flip side, if I call you up and go, you know what, we just got an award from one of our customers because of our on-time percentage. I appreciate what you do because our fleet's the one that did that. Nice job, Camille. That has a lot more meaning.
Yeah.
Having that one-on-one individualized relationship with the driver makes a huge difference from one carrier to the next. If you want to go to a carrier and you look at any carrier that they won't tell you this, but you discover their turnover rate's above 100%, I promise you one of the things that you'll find is that dispatcher doesn't really know their drivers.
Yeah, no. They don't know them and they don't care to know them.
No, they are trying to get through the day. I got 50 loads I got to take care of today. That's what I'm focused on.
Yeah. And doing your job is more than just those 50 loads.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. And at the end of the day, a really good dispatcher is somebody that you really have to look at a whole year of work to judge were they successful
Yeah.
or were they not.
Yeah.
If you have a dispatcher that half their drivers leave every 90 days, like a rotating circle or a turnstile, they may have covered all their loads over the course of the year, but that dispatcher is actually really expensive.
Yeah, expensive dispatcher, and it's the dispatcher, it's not the driver.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the dispatcher and not the driver. Well, you definitely covered that too. Tailored communication, right? So face-to-face meetings, and then you will know whether sometimes certain things could need to be face-to-face or telephone, depending. And then celebrating the personal milestones. So, like if whatever is going on with the driver, but the only way you know is if you have a relationship with that particular driver.
Yep.
And it's not just, I need to cover these 50 loads today.
I like, in my past, I've dispatched. I like knowing when I had a driver that had an anniversary coming up, or unfortunately something bad like a death in the family. I like knowing it because I can have that conversation, understand what's going on in their world. I've had a couple conversations where drivers called up and they were not in good spirits, but there was a death in the family. There was something life-wise that was causing this. It wasn't who they were as an individual. But if I don't take the time to build those relationships, I don't know that this driver's snippy with me and now I'm snippy with them. And it de-escalates rapidly.
Yeah. And you need to know those things because everybody deserves grace, but we're all human, so you don't realize that if you don't have a human connection with people.
Yep.
That's just very important.
And despite the freight, the trailers, the trucks, we are definitely in a people business.
Yeah.
This is a people business that's not changing anytime soon. Anyone that gets into trucking because they don't like people will find that this industry is very hard to succeed in if you don't like people.
If you don't like people, this is not the industry for you.
A lot of people get into this industry though because they're thinking, oh, I can just be in a truck and hide by myself. Most drivers will tell you, you interact with people on a routine basis.
Yeah.
You may go stretches where you don't, but you interact with people on a routine basis.
And then we have to interact with people. Sometimes things get exhausting and you have to take a step back. You have to recharge yourself. I was talking about eating batteries today. It just is what it is. But you still have to deal with people. So we have to know that sometimes it's us, not them.
Yep.
So it's a self-awareness part as well, dealing with this job.
It is. It's good to be humble.
Yeah.
It is good to be humble. I will tell you right now.
Trucking will do that to you.
Oh, it is. And one of the things that we do is all of our management teams and a lot of our employees take what's called the personality index. And it will kind of tell a little bit about your personality. And the real purpose of that is to help you interact with other people. So in my case, I am high dominance. I'm high extroversion. I'm low attention to detail. Low attention to rules and formalities. I am the exact opposite of what most good drivers are. They're the exact opposite. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a you can't thing, but it does tell you. Yeah, it's how do you communicate with other people. So there's a lot of times where I have to specifically be more patient, get uncomfortable, have a longer conversation, spend a little less time talking, have someone else communicate to me. And it's a good thing to be conscious of because I'm not the one moving thousands of loads every week. We do 500 cross-border moves a day across the U.S. border in Mexico. We don't have one person that does that. It literally takes a bunch of people. And if you can't step back and use your personality, the assets that you have, but take some of the vulnerabilities and address those vulnerabilities, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, it's important that you know your personality traits because you need to know how you show up in a room.
Yep.
Okay, it's not about what's good or bad. It's about who you are. That's important.
Being the bull in the china shop is not always the way to move ahead.
Yeah, and that's just period. Well, I'm going to let you off the hook for a few seconds. And what we're going to do is ask Kayla to play the commercial with Carlos, talking about the car giveaway, since we talked a lot about MVT and recognition and the personal aspect of everything. So I do want to highlight that, us talk about that part of it with the leaderboard, which is my favorite part.
Yep.
And then we'll probably dive back into a few more questions, just a little bit differently.
Absolutely.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez, tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Está. Mi comunicación con el despacho es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre están a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los operadores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
We are back. I'm letting them off a little bit. We're going to talk about some fun stuff before we get back into you being the expert of all and having to speak for the entire industry.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay. So I literally love this part of everything because I like the career path when it comes to MVT. Not just, the drivers can go on to being trainers and different aspects, but the fact that you have a department that is specialized in helping the drivers win a car.
Yeah. We have a good group of people that work in what we call driver services, and their sole function is the career development of our drivers. Mm-hmm. Now, that's both long-term as well as short-term. And it could be, hey, I got a ticket, or I had too many hard brakes. It could be something small like that we just need to refine what we're doing on the road. Or it could be larger. What do you want to do with the next 20 years of your life in this industry? One of the areas they really focus on that is with our MPGs, and we are passionate and excited about it. Our owner, Royal Jones, owns a speedway called Vado Speedway out of New Mexico. So he is obsessed with miles per gallon fuel economy, and he's carried that passion over to the trucking side of the business. In an industry that averages about 6 to 6.5 miles a gallon, we average about 9 to 9.5 miles a gallon. On a fleet of our size, that saves us about $46 to $48 million every year in fuel savings.
Okay.
It's a big amount of money. The number one factor in that is driver behaviors on the road, though. There's about 25 different things that we do for our fuel economy, but at least 50% of the results come directly from our drivers. We want to reward our drivers. We have some drivers hitting incredible totals on MPG. Last quarter, our winner of a car had 12.6 miles per gallon. We are now basically doing bets amongst people, the drivers, as well as internally, of who's going to hit 13 for the first time. It is coming, especially with the newer trucks we have coming in. It's coming. So with that said, what we do is whoever has the best fuel economy for the quarter, we give a brand new car to. Whoever has the best fuel economy for the year, we give $25,000 to. Very popular. We have about 200 of our drivers right now that I promise you are watching a leaderboard that we have posted very quickly. In this case, a 2023 Nissan Sentra. It's a beautiful car.
I thought you was going to say.
I'm not going to say Sinatra. I keep making that mistake. It turns out Frank Sinatra does not work with Nissan and hasn't, even post-mortem. With that said...
I thought that he was like Royal Jones' friend.
I don't know. Royal knows a lot of people. You'll never know. But with that said, it's an exciting giveaway. Royal will show up, literally give the car to the driver. We want to talk to the driver. It tends to be a really great conversation with the winner of it because it's not luck that makes somebody get those results. And that driver ends up giving us invaluable feedback on a number of factors. But with that said, if you don't win it this quarter, you could win it the next quarter. We have people that might finish in the 500th place and the next quarter be in that top 10 as they're fighting it out to get that MPG bonus. Every week, you're able to go to any of our terminal locations, Nashville, Laredo, Dallas, DFW, Hutchins in particular, and El Paso, and physically see where you are versus the pecking order. Plus, on your in-cab communications, you always have that visibility where you can see exactly where you rank on your MPGs. It's a brand new car. It's $25,000 for the year-long winner, but you're not alone in it. Your fleet manager, the driver services teams, and a number of other people, including our relationship with Penske, get involved to try to give you the best chance at winning that car. It's something we take a lot of pride in. Our drivers take a lot of pride in. And you'll find on the 25,000, we have a driver named Roberto Sandoval. He's won it 5 different times over his 22 years with us.
Love it.
With that said, you don't necessarily need to be with us 20 years to win this. We've had people win it with as little as 9 months of experience in our industry that turned around as a team and ended up getting the best MPG bonus. We've had everybody from all different divisions win from it. So it is not prone to one division or one type of driver. Every driver that's won has come from every walk of life you possibly can think of. So the opportunity's there, and I like that it allows us to celebrate not just success, but wild success. I didn't think in my career I'd be seeing people getting 12 plus miles a gallon. I didn't think, quite frankly, it was possible. But we have at least 5 to 6 people now doing it every single quarter.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. There's a lot of companies that will tell me I get stopped at truck shows and I get called a liar because I'm told there's no way you can do that, but we have the stats to back it up. We just have better drivers than they do.
You got the receipt.
I do. We got the receipt.
That's what you don't want to say.
Yes.
I got the receipt.
I know that one. Don't do other ones, but I know that one.
You know that one. I've been waiting all day to say that. But, I think that that's fantastic. And so, did we talk about the leaderboard?
Yep.
Okay, that's my favorite part.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. If you like competition, most successful people have that game on switch that, hey, game's on. And what will happen a lot of times that people aren't really even focused on it. We'll get somebody that halfway through the month, all of a sudden, halfway through the quarter, looks at the board and goes, oh, I got a chance at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to get serious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they see that they're somewhere on there, or even if they don't think that they have a real chance, but to see that their name is somewhere within the 50 range, they're like, okay, this is real.
Yeah, we've had a couple winners that described it to me that they didn't really plan on winning it. They just wanted to keep on focus and going higher and higher up that board. And the next thing you know, I was in the hunt. It wasn't that I had one good big thing. It was a combination of things. And one day I walked through the board, and in one case I had a driver I was talking to a couple weeks ago that was in the grill to get a cheeseburger going. Oh crap, I got a chance. I'm 8th right now. So he's now pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. And then you all have a cook.
Yeah, Jamie and the team there at our grill, they do a great job. I like the huevos rancheros in particular for breakfast, but they cook a mean pork chop.
I mean, we have donuts here.
And the caviar and champagne.
Yeah. Oh, the caviar.
Yeah.
That I call anchovies, I forget.
That's right.
Small mistake is almost the same, kind of, sort of.
As I've said, when in Houston, or when in Rome, I always get it wrong.
Yes, something like that. But what we want to do is, because we talked about the trucks and things like that, so I think this is a good job for us to put on the commercial with Joe, actually showing the inside of the truck.
Absolutely.
So this is a great time for that. So if you can go ahead and do that, Caleb, this is a fantastic time.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LTs. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet, and if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Hey, everybody. Well, this is at the end of the show. As absolutely, I think Joe has said it all for us, and there is nothing else to.
Yeah, great equipment, great people, a lot of opportunities, and of course, good home time. And we have the dedicated opportunity coming up there in Columbus. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what we want to do is go ahead and tell everybody goodbye, good night, and be safe. Bye. Okay.